You don't say any longer tikase. What you say is a chasima toiva, right? Gemar chasima toiva. Why? But in Shemona Esrei and everything, you say kosveinu still. Yeah. So what's the reason? Yeah. So I heard a good word once that when it comes to Yechavu, you down the kapschus. You get someone who's righteous gets his ksiva already written down on Rosh Hashana by the Rosh. So you can go and say Gemar Chasima Toiva or Chasima Toiva to the person. But you yourself personally, you can't judge yourself. You have to think about it that maybe you're not on that list. So therefore you still say V'chasveinu, because who knows, maybe you haven't been put on the list yet. Okay.
By the second day Rosh Hashana?
The second day Rosh Hashana, you say already to someone in Chasima Toiva. You don't say Chasima Toiva, yeah. Hagor Simituf Kafayim Basic Test. It's a halacha. V'nahagim shekol echod ve'echod oimel chaver l'shana toiv tikoseh. Adkan. Just tikoseh. There are those, you'll see them when they come, then some people say l'al t'chaim l'sholom. They have different traditions. This is all has mekoiris. They all have a source. Yeah. However, therefore, Magen Avraham adds, you don't just say tikoseh, but you say tikoseh v'sichoseh. V'chein nochin shiachziku l'tzadik shenechtem la'alto l'chaim. That you should be machzik the person for a tzadik. U'bahagro herech t'kivet she'en chasim ad yom kippurim. He held the Vilna Gaon that since the chasim is only by Yom Kippur, chein ein loyim v'sichosim. You shouldn't say it. You always say tikoseh. Mishnah Berurah heavy shtei days. Brings down both of the days. Some say tikoseh, some say tikoseh. Ochin baruch hashulchan kosef she'oim l'shana toiva tikoseh v'sichos matkan. V'chein kosef bel yorabu matafraim k'shchunaruch u'chayodam kosef she'oim l'shana toiva tikoseh v'sichos tikoseh v'sichoseh la'alto l'chaim toivim adkan. V'nira she'ef shalaham is b'kavonas hamogin avram b'meshasiyim v'chein nochen, because he add these words v'chein nochen she'yachziku l'tzadik she'nechtem la'alto l'chaim. So therefore you have that loshin of what the Chayyim says, also add la'alto l'chaim toivim. The Kavanos Yom came beheaded that you should say to the person, say, Amat Kashim and again Loim L'Shan Toiv Tikosim V'Sichosim L'Alto Chaim Toivim L'Sholem. He adds another word, Toivim L'Sholem. V'chein Kos Vel Hamogni. So you have a whole bunch of different ways of how to say it, and they're brought down by reliable poskim, and each one Yesham Yilismoy. Next halachi is till when do you give this bracha to someone? If you meet someone, Rosh Hashanah, you don't see him at night, you meet him Rosh Hashanah in the morning, you can still do it until Chatzois of the first day. Where does this come from? It's Kosev HaMogen Avraham Kosev HaLevushe. You shouldn't say it after the first 3 hours. She'oz nigma haksiva. B'tzarchi. Where does this Magen Avraham come from? The Hamrina b'mekayim even barachma. Atam shem kaimelon ben shol shoyish niyus yoshiv v'dam. So if it's b'mekayim, it's not the first 3 hours. It's only from the second 3 hours of the morning. Therefore, he holds Yechoyim Chatzos till after Chatzos. Uhuv Bel Yorabba, this is brought down by the Yorabba, that even though the Levush says you say it only the first 3 hours, the Magen Avraham says you say it till Chatzos, and the El Yob and brings that down this halacha as well. That you have until Chatzos to give this over. The kids of Shulchan Aruch cost the B'yoyim Einoyim Mishum. They find Nimra Chasim Koydem Chatzos. You don't even bother saying it because it happens before Chatzos, and therefore you don't say it in the morning. He says, okay, till Chatzos you can say it. Mishnah Berurah Gamkin had to give Magen Avram. Also, the words of the Magen Avram that you have until Chatzos to do it. And Reb Shmuel comes along and says, the Avagav and the Hagaloi Marak Balayla. Even though we see the tradition is only to do it at night, you don't see people doing it in the morning. Even if you meet someone, not the minig, doesn't happen. So he says, if let's say you didn't meet someone, you didn't happen to greet the fella at night, if you really want to be nice, you can give him this bracha until Chatzos. Huh? Say what? Why not Lashon? No. ובכל הדברים הללו אין כל כך קפידה. שאיגה מה שמברך חברי ואפילו ירמנה בליל שני. At the end of the day, if you say it by the second night, it's not the end of the world. By giving that person, if you didn't see him the first day, you only see him the second day, that you can still say L'shana Toiva. We pass like the Magen Avram, that till Chatzos. That's the demarcation line. Okay, another tradition that we have, okay, on Leil Seder, Leil of Rosh Hashana is Tibel Prusis Hamoitzi B'Davash, dipping the apple in the honey. Now, Hagel the Prusis Hamoitzi B'Davash, on the Afalpike, Adayin Ish L'Daktik Sheyehei Melech Al HaShulchan. Even though you do the dip with honey, well, afterwards there are some who do it taka. You makbid to try to dip it in salt as well. Since you have the salt on the table, you're able to dip the chal in the salt. Okay, and where do we get this from? So it's a lavush. Minig Ashkenazi calls it an Ashkenazic minig. Shem Matbilim Prusas Habitzia Bizvash, that piece of challah that you take from the moitzi, you dip into honey. Loim Tehei Hashana Habo Aleinu Masuka V'Toiva. Adkan. And we say that the year coming up should be for sweetness and good. And it's brought down to Mishnah Berurah as well, that we dip the apple, the moitzi in the honey. V'hine, b'shulchan aruch seven kuf zayin zal lo yifsat shivoy lefan hamelech liftim lafas by prusas apitzia. That we know there's a halacha, nothing to do with Rosh Hashana, that you're supposed to dip the moitzi in the salt. V'hine kiyah. Even if it's like Shehim Tuvels Betavlin, you had the bread was a white flour, or it was spiced up. Like Melech Ke'en Shalonu Ein Tzarich Lahaktim, you don't have to wait. Agam Kamakam, he brings down over here in Shulchan Aruch, Mitzvah Laniach Al Kol Shulchan Melech Kodesh V'Yiftzak Yad Shulchan Doimel L'Mizbeach. It's a mitzvah to have salt by the table because a table is comparable to a mizbeach, v'achila k'karban, and eating is like a sacrifice. V'nem al kol karbanecha takav melech u'magim in aparonis, and it says over here it protects you from any type of calamities. Shmuel says the gam benidin don't tzarich l'zoshi melech al shulchan mitamzeh. Now v'gav shnei tzarich l'tabu melech. Even though you don't have to dip it in salt, to go ahead and have the salt on the table. No.
Just to have it on the table itself.
Yeah, not to dip.
Not
He
to
didn't say
dip.
dip. No.
I've seen it.
1 minute. We're not finished yet. ובכף החיים כוסף שיש לטבל במלח תחילה ואחר כך בדבש. First you dip it in, this nobody does practically. You first dip the challah in the salt and take it, then you dip it in the honey. Because we know dipping in salt sweetens those gevuros, things that can happen to you. That you should not stop yourself. Silmas Chayim Kosav Shishlipo Bidvash Tchilu Simin Toy Vachach Melech, like a lot of people do. First dip it into the honey, and then afterwards you take it. Could be a couple of minutes later also. The nearest she came in Duik Bagois Marai Azoili, the Mashikosav Alavush and Minig Ashkenaz with Bill Prusa Btzi Bidvash, Haisim Rabbeinu Koidim Koldova before anything. Means, what do you mean before anything? Meaning first do the honey and then do the salt. Before anything else. Okay. There are certain items that we do on Rosh Hashana that we don't do the rest of the year for Siman Tov. Rosh Hashana Rubia. And he calls it Rubia. What's Rubia? Diamond Talsin. Talsin is radish. But at the end of the day, I think we use Rubia is black-eyed beans. Not Boston baked beans, but black-eyed beans. You don't do that?
I do whatever the Rebbe does.
Well, I do it all the time. Maybe Newman, they don't do it. I'm sure they
You
do
can
it.
bring a
Newman.
can from here, yeah.
Huh?
I'll bring a can.
Okay. Then you also have karsi, which is leeks, silka, spinach, tamri, dates, kara is squash, gourds. When you eat the rubia, that's the black-eyed beans, what we call, you make a special yirotzu. Because rubia means that. It translated as a siman to add to your schuyas. Karse is leeks. Yichrusu saynenu, that your enemy should be cut off. Silka, what is it? Spinach. Yistalku oivenu. So we say yistalku saynenu. Tamri, dates. Yitamu saynenu should be the end of our enemies. Kara, what's the kara representing? These gourds that you eat, the squash. So we say yikari gzardinenu. It should be cut off the edicts of judgment upon us, the bad edicts of judgment. And should be read in front of us our merits.
You didn't mention the apple.
Oh,
Does that come
that you also dip the apple in the honey and you say Shana Toiva. Some people eat Pomegranates, not near the schuyas, is a schuyas karima. V'nag lechel bas shamei. We also eat fatty. Brings down over here from Shulchan Aruch. You eat a fatty type of meat, and all different types of sweets. Some people have other things. You have some people eat carrots because carrots in Yiddish is called merit. So she'ir b'suku yisaynu. Some people even eat farfel. No, what's the farfel? No.
Schnitzel.
What?
Schnitzel.
Schnitzel. Why schnitzel?
Schnitzel.
Huh?
Schnitzel. It should save us.
Save us? Oh, okay.
That one,
Some
huh?
people eat together lettuce and celery. Why? Because we say let us have a raise in salary.
Oh, nice.
Okay. You heard it here first. Okay. So there's different minhagim. They'd rather not everybody have these minhagim. Continuing on, because tomorrow I want to learn about the shechiyana we do on the second night, which we got to go more into detail. Also, because lechol rosh keves loy maniya l'rosh v'loy l'zonav. It should be for a rosh and not for a zonav. I mean, again, lechol rosh hadag. Also, we eat the rosh of the dag because it's also rosh v'loy l'zonav. V'ayni rosh sheni l'rosh v'loy l'zonav. And we also say shenifra b'nibra kadogim halolu she'ein ayin hara she'letas behem. We also do it now. It's interesting. This is a word from the Rosh. What do you mean? You say Nil Rosh Zonav. It says Mutav Shiur Zonav LaRoyis Valdir Rosh Shiolim. It's better to be a tail for the lions than to be the head for the foxes, whatever you want to call it. So what over here we're saying that you should be the Rosh for the Zonav. That's not. Maybe the Zonav so the Zonav Arois. It doesn't say Yil Shenil Rosh. It says Nia Lirosh. Meaning you have to find somebody to hang your hat on. Meaning the Arais. That's what we're talking about. The Arais over here. Shenil Rosh of the Arais, that you should become part and parcel. The Yutaka may be the Zonav. You should be the Rosh of the Arais. Kasu apaiskim shiachim ashnik b'chom diyam dinik l'shayni loshin ribuy akol simen sheyiska ha'adam sheyisoy b'tshuva k'shemvakish rachmim al dovazeh. Let's see what he says over here. Hey, involved. Okay, here's an important halacha. We said you eat the rosh of the keves. Shul. Chenar sim tov pei gimel sim beis oich rosh keves loima nil rosh loizonim v'zeichel ayoli shel Yitzchak. Magen Avraham v'mei rosh keves yishlechel rosh acha mishum tamarisha because the rosh loizonim. Well, your rabbi kosev sheken kosev matam Moshe kosev b'shar Ephraim. And Shmuel says, "Shetzleinu lo yu'inu nahag lechol rosh keves, for nahag lechol rosh dag mitam arisha." They only had a rosh dag. Chen kos baruch hashulchan v'oichem rosh keves v'oimer niyel rosh v'lizonav v'oil zeh chayol shel Yitzchak b'mnei tam arisha oichem v'kol nil dag as harosh. I'll tell you, in Chutz La'aretz, you don't find so much that you have these minhagim of Simon Tzadi. I remember somebody once saying, saw my father. I had this minhagim because by our mishpacha we were very makbid on having these simonim. But he said, we never saw this in Galicia and Ruslan. We never saw this. So my father said, it's a simple reason why he didn't see it. Same reason when it came tomorrow in Galicia and Ruslan, they used to use tomorrow horseradish. in the Bnei Eretz Yisrael, they had romaine lettuce. That was the first of the simon. Why? Because when you came around to March, April in the colder climates, they didn't have yet the romaine lettuce available. So therefore, they did it that way. They ate horseradish, blesbrera. However, we in Eretz Yisrael had romaine lettuce, so our mini was more romaine lettuce, even though we mix in how most people have a little bit of both, whatever you want to do. But I had a cousin, Dovatima, he was makrid 100% horseradish, because that's what his Messiah was from his father and his father's father and so on. Same thing with these mina. These mina were easily available in Israel because it was a warmer climate, so you can get it that time of year. But in some climates you couldn't get it already. So therefore they didn't have the minute to do it. It was unavailable. Nowadays anybody can get it. It's spread out more, people do it more than they used to. But I remember as a child, a lot of people didn't do it. They didn't even know what it was all about. Here Taka brings down that what about carrots? The times in the Hagulikach Gezel Oichel Kikarim Lezemeri Shemom Loshin Bibui Bashkenaz. Merin means to multiply or to add. So we say Shiyir B'Suchu Yuseinu on Merin. However, Shmuel says, Shim'omnan shekol ha'poisim kasu, sheb'chomim v'dini yikchu mashenikru b'shoynim loshin riboy, las simin u'mitzad adin kach yiroin l'nei, l'maisa od of svei lasses rakas simonim shnehagu mikvar v'loisel ha'isif aleim. It's best to do what's written. The ones that are mentioned, what we mentioned before, the rubia and the silka, all those are in Chazal, they're in the Gemara. Come to a little bit with sonus. You just don't add those. Okay. The mice at the end, which should be Simen Nilsahi, and therefore we go ahead and do the Simon. Tomorrow we'll learn about the Shechionus that are needed to be done. Chananya ben Akashim is Bo Zakis Yisrael, the Fig Chibel and Torah Mitzvahs, Shenema Adonai Chovetz Man Sitko Yagul Torah Yad